think Damage and I just put up our streams at the exact same time. Alright, you have my stream link. Good luck, Damage, throw up a party. Okay.
Here we are.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gents. It's the ladies and gents show here. Oh man. You ready, John?
I am ready.
You know what? I don't even need a track map. Because if I don't know the names of these turns, I'm not a motorsports fan. Because we're at the most iconic track in motorsports.
I only don't know the name of the first chicane and the second chicane.
They're literally first chicane and second chicane.
Sounds good to me.
and the Italian names for them are the Italian translation of first and second chicane. All
Okay.
right, hello everybody, and welcome to the UDL F1 League Season 2, round number 12, here on the F1 2019 game at the Italian GP at Monza. My name, of course, is Mr. Damage, and once again, I'm joined by my favorite co-commentator. It's John.
Hello, everybody, and I'd just like to welcome everybody to a great race here at Monza.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to an absolutely exceptional race here. I mean, Monza is just a wonderful track to begin with whenever it comes to racing. You got long straights, you got heavy braking zones, you got plenty of overtaking opportunities, and that's all we really need with the help of DRS in Formula One.
Yes, extremely high-speed circuit. Most straights, they're going to be touching 190 to 200 miles an hour on this circuit.
And this track does hold the record for the fastest ever lap in Formula One in a concurrent speed. So average speed, I don't remember what that number is, but Kimi Räikkönen took the record away from Juan Pablo Montoya in 2018.
It was very fast.
It was very, very fast.
It's insane how long that record actually stood before Kimi Räikkönen actually took it away. The record was, I believe, set in 2004.
Yeah, it was set in 2004 by a kind of competitive Williams at the time with a prime Montoya. It was beautiful. That engine. You know what else is roaring? This Alfa Romeo of X Breezy, first driver to cross the line, going down the pit straight, DRS wide open, coming down towards the first heavy braking zone of the lap, going into this first chicane, very tricky. Hit both of these apexes right. He misses the second apex just a little bit. The Ferrari right behind him is going to have a huge advantage in this slip. Sure which Ferrari that is as they come around Corte Grande now up towards this second chicane underneath the Pirelli bridge down to third gear through this right and then left and then right hand flick through the first Lesmo. Very fast banked corner here coming up towards the second Lesmo. A nice little flick. You got to jab the brakes then slow it back down into full throttle. DRS wide open now, coming down the back straight, going underneath the old oval. Coming up towards the Sector 2 timing line and up to Ascari down into fourth gear. Really fast corners. You got to make sure you don't use too much of the curbs. It will make the car pendulum around as we can now go down the final straight up towards Parabolica, one of the most famous corners in motorsport. Diving it down, fifth gear, now fourth. Through to the apex and on the power nice and early. You got to ride it out really wide and carry as much momentum as possible. Breezy comes across the line to finish his lap and goes a 119.397. Great lap from him.
I can already see from how quickly these cars are going, nearly 210 miles an hour from Sinister Owl there. This race is going to be incredibly close, and with close racing here, the slightest mistake can cause catastrophe between two drivers.
Yeah, I mean, last time around here at Monza, we saw that for sure. At Ascari, there was a huge crash involving 4 or 5 cars that ruined quite a lot of races, so that's just what happens here at Monza. If there's a crash, it's going to be big.
Yes, that is very true.
As everybody's getting their first qualifying laps on the board, we've got a few people running alternate strategies. Ran Thunder and Fiji, the only people not on the soft compound tires. I would assume this will be a one-stop race. This track is the least harsh on tires of any track out there. So these guys definitely going to be able to just probably go soft, medium, and make it all the way through.
Okay, that was an interesting issue. It just told me that it was insignificant.
Insignificant, a round of words
no.
in your vocabulary.
Ineffective enough for a broadcast. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Mine says that every once in a while. It's okay. You'll be fine, I think. See if I can jump to somebody who's got 5 on their ERS deployment. Pecan so far has set the fastest first sector of anybody coming up towards this first Lesmo. Looks like he hits that apex pretty well, gets on the power nice and early. Now coming up towards the second Lesmo, gets a pretty good exit there. You don't want to use too much of that curb because it can spin you to the inside and lose you time. So now Pecan coming up towards the Ascari chicane. He's purple in the second sector. Coming now towards the final straight of the lap here. Great run there through Ascari. Nice and smooth coming up towards Parabolica for the Haas driver. He comes now into Parabolica. Nice run down into 5th gear. Gets on the power nice and early. And he will jump up to P5 on the 3rd row of the grid beside of his teammate. I've got a big rig.
Great pace from these top drivers.
Yeah.
I can imagine seeing some of these later qualifying runs. This grid is going to tighten up extremely quickly.
Absolutely. This is gonna be a treat for sure. I'm really excited for this this Italian GP here at Monza. I mean, it's the Temple of Speed for a reason. If only we could drive around on the oval, am I right?
I'd be very interested to see how long these Pirellis would last driving on that oval.
Well, since they are Pirellis, if we were still on Bridgestones, I would trust them enough to maybe make it 5 laps. But these Pirellis, they are they're not very wear efficient, to say the least. So it might not end up too well.
I'm interested to see how next year is going to go with the Zandvoort.
Zandvoort.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember where that circuit is, but yeah, that's going to be very interesting with the final corner, how banked it is.
Yeah, that Dutch GP is going to be very wild. It's going to be very cool to watch, and quite frankly, that that track is going to be very fun to drive, for sure. I mean,
Yes.
it looks like it's going to be very fast. Snipper Pig 2/10 up in the first sector, and I mean, there's really only 2 turns in that sector, so good job from him through the first chicane in that Ferrari. Now comes through the second Lesmos and onto the back straight. Got a yellow flag. Looks like there's a Mercedes slowing down. Snipper purple in the second sector. A couple of tenths up still. Now coming through Ascari. Great run out of Ascari there.
We've seen this earlier with Pecan, so he needs to nail this final.
210 miles per hour going into Parabolica. Incredible amount of speed there. He goes a little wide there, middle of Parabolica, but it looks like the lap was still valid. He goes a 19.2 and puts it onto provisional pole for now, dethroning Breezy from that top spot.
Incredible pace from these top drivers.
I got a big rig. Goes 25,000 slower than his last lap. Dulsac splits the 2 Haas drivers, goes up into P6. We've got a Red Bull coming across the line now. I think he just started a lap.
Shawsome will be our next.
Yep, Shawsome coming around Parabolica. And it looks like he's a little down on his lap. Yep, 5 seconds off. So that would have been a cool down lap. The Mercedes is starting a flying lap.
We got a Pecan fan in the chat. Welcome back.
As the 2 McLarens going down the back straight, helping each other. Oh, in the background, a Williams in the wall, killed the Birdman. Huge shunt for him coming out of Ascari as both of the McLarens peel off into the pit lane. Not quite sure what happened to kill the Birdman there. Must have lost it on that outside curb and spun.
The curbs in Ascari can be very dangerous if you hit them incorrectly.
Yeah, those curbs are very scary. A little bit of a miscommunication there from a few drivers. Got Pecan going around Dillsack there. I got a big rig tucking in behind them as they both were trying to get out of the way of everybody else and because they were going into the pit lane. Let's see what else we got here on track. We got Shawsome. He's going into the pit lane. Okay, we got a Renault. That's Spyro. Let's see who is that? That's for some reason I can't go up past Fiji because I don't know. I've got to sneeze. Oh, that hurt. Okay. So let's see. Breezy coming up to the line now. Let's see if he improves. My game is glitching. I can't. For some reason, I can't go up on the order.
Okay.
It's very not fun. Snipper's lap is invalidated, so the next driver to cross the line will be Pecan. He's coming through with Ascari. He's a little up, about 22 thousandths up on his time. So let's see if he can get a better run through Parabolica and maybe climb up through the timesheets here. We saw before that he has the pace in the first 2 sectors. Let's see if he has a good Parabolica and he dives off into the pit lane. So looks like he didn't get quite the result that he wanted.
Get that money run up to 6.
Pops it up into P6 there for Red Bull. Imran Thunder jumps up into P13 ahead of his teammate. See Spyro coming down the back straight. Fiji about to come across the line now. He leapfrogs his teammate back. Those two are having a wonderful qualifying battle down there. Spyro coming around now. He pulls into the pit lane. So that means that the next car will be Breezy. Breezy loses it, and Parabolica goes off into the gravel and is facing the wrong direction at the exit. This is very, very precarious from him. Thankfully, he should be able to
Oh.
get it going. Almost pulls out into the path of the McLaren there, but thankfully it all ended up okay. No huge shunts, so looks like everybody survived that without too much issue. Kill the Birdman coming around Parabolica on a out lap. See, get that money run. Most likely coming into the pit lane. We will see. And yes, he will be the Haas behind him starting a lap. Okay. See, we got Shawsome coming through Parabolica to start a lap. Man. There's
A lot of
cars everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of trying to figure out where to look in this qualifying session.
You've got Bossman coming down the back straight now with an incredible podium last week in that four racing point, as he now comes up towards the line and will improve all the way up into P4.
Wow.
Great lap from him in that racing point, really showing his pace. Honos comes across the line, jumps up into P5. Last week's winner, of course, at Spa-Francorchamps.
He is... Bossman is surrounded by McLarens.
Sinister does not improve on his lap, so he will continue to be in P11. Kill the Birdman comes into the pit lane.
Dreamsy looking to improve.
McLaren of Dreamsy, he dives into the pit lane. He was 2.5 tenths up, but it looks like he went wide there at Parabolica and invalidated his lap. Big Rig coming around now. He jumps into the pit lane. Shawsome going into Parabolica, but he is on an outlap.
The two Renaults have yet to make a lap.
Very surprising. I haven't even seen Imperial on the track yet for Renault, so very interesting here from the Renault guys. Spyro now starting a lap. We've only got a little over 2.5 minutes left to be able to get a lap done, and this track is going to be very, very busy.
Yes, it will.
We've got Honos coming around. He is boxing this lap. He is out of fuel. Sinister coming around Parabolica now for that Ferrari, jumping back into his old seat. Let's see if he improves. He does improve because a 120.0 jumps up into P8 provisionally. Get that money and run coming up to start a lap. This is the calm before the storm. Only 5 cars on 6 cars on track, but look at that train of cars coming out of the pit lane. 5 cars coming out onto the track all at once, and get that money and run. Oh, barely was able to squeeze by there. All those drivers slowing down at the last second.
Spyro, that great. A purple second sector.
Spyro in this Renault might have what it takes to put it at least in the top 5 here. Let's see if he can get a good run through Parabolica. It looked pretty good. He got the power down really early, but his first sector must have let him down. In P14 provisionally, Breezy coming around to start his final flying lap. Let's see, we've got Imran Thunder also starting his final flying lap. Pretty sure that is Sinister coming up towards Parabolica now, coming through Parabolica. He is starting to ramp it up. He's putting on all of his ERS deployment here to start his next flying lap. Ferrari looking to make some gains here in the
get that money and run
qualifying order.
Looking to improve his qualifying position today, and does not.
See, we've got the 2 Haas drivers helping each other with the slipstream. Kill the Birdman behind them, and I got a Big Rig pulls out of the way of Pecan in this at the end of that pitch, at the end of the pit straight. So Pecan with a little bit of help there for the slipstream. See. Is that Dreamsy coming around to start a lap? Bossman coming around to start a lap with 5 seconds left. I don't even know if Bossman's going to make it.
Very
Bossman goes
wide.
wide. And he won't make it to the line. Breezy crashes once again in Parabolica. It's the second time in this session that has happened, and he goes into the pit lane. Let's see, who else do we have? Imran Thunder jumps up into P12 after that was his first lap on the soft compound tires. Interesting from him to be running on mediums the whole time.
Yeah.
Sinister coming around the final corner, but he will be pulling into the pit lane. He must have ran out of fuel. Get that money and run. Next car to cross the line. Then the two Haas's right behind. Get that money and run. Runs wide and validates his laps. I'm going to jump up to the Haas of Pecan. He is 3/10 up. Let's see if he jumps up anywhere. He goes up into P6. And let's see, Dulsac provisionally was P6 at one point. Let's see if he can make headway back up. He does not. He stays in P10. He's got Snipper coming around to cross the line. He pulls off into the pit lane. Dreamsy, his lap is invalidated.
Looks like everyone's lap is invalidated.
He would have improved a 10th, would not have improved position. See Bossman coming around to finish his lap and improves, I think, or it's a glitch, one of the two, I'm not sure.
That was an AI driving.
Okay, so it was a glitch. Alright, is there anybody else on a flying lap? No, there's not. So, that is that. Snipper Pig on pole position once again for the Scuderia Ferrari. Breezy on the outside of that front row for Alfa Romeo. Dreamsy in P3 for McLaren, and Shawsome in the top four with Breezy in P4 in that Alpha. Great return. He's returned back to that seat, and he's returned back to F1 and is doing absolutely phenomenally in that Alfa Romeo seat. Bossman, great qualifying session from him up into P5. Last week he started P11 and ended up on the podium. Let's see what he can do this week. Pecan in P6 for Haas. Honos, P7 for McLaren. Sinister Owl on his return. P8 for Ferrari. Get that money and run. P9 for Red Bull. And Dulsac, the final car in the top 10 for Toro Rosso. I got a Berg Rig. Imran Thunder, Kill the Birdman, Fiji, Inspire the Great. The last drivers to set a lap, and the Imperial 757 did not set a lap time.
Alright, I am currently in contact with Pecan, asking if we have any interviews for today.
Okay. I'm going to grab a drink really quick.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Great qualifying session there. If you enjoy the F1 League, we will soon, or right after the F1 League, we will actually be throwing up a WEC race on Project Cars 2 that will be streamed by Pecan and Dylan 4243. They will be doing that. Me and Damage will be driving in that. So if anybody wants to watch that as well, and then along with that, we will also have next weekend on Saturday will be the Indy 500 qualifying on the 15th and the 16th. That is Friday and Saturday. And then the 24th of this month is the Indy 500. So be sure to tune into those as well. I will be commentating on Saturday for the qualifying, and as well as the full Indy 500. All right. I'm going to ask if there's any interviews. We have a very packed month of May this month, so I think there are 5 events this month alone. Okay, I need to invite. As soon as Damage gets back, we will have that driver in. Alright.
Review?
Yes, I suggested him.
Okay, cool. Who do we got? Cinny. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to.
Oh.
Hang on 1 second. Don't say anything. I've got to fix my settings. I don't think my voice is being shared.
No problem.
I think I'm fine.
Okay. Welcome, Sinister. It's
Howdy.
good. It's good to see you back in the Scuderia Ferrari seat. Great qualifying session for your first week back. How does it feel?
It feels all right. I came in expecting to be way off pace, so P8's honestly fantastic for me. I expected to qualify around like 15th or 14th, so I'll take P8 and try to improve on it.
Yeah, like I said, first week back in the car and P8. You're looking for a points finish, which is pretty great, and strategy can always improve on that. How are your feelings coming into the race?
We're more nervous than anything really, because I'm not sure how it's going to go, especially the turn 1 at Monza. I'm expecting absolute chaos at turn 1, so I'm going to try and stay out of that, especially since I'm starting mid-pack, so I'm going to be very vulnerable to all the stuff that's going to happen with all of the back markers just trying to send in dive bombs because they think they're... But if we can avoid the chaos at turn 1, we might be alright for maybe a top 5 finish if I get lucky.
That is great. Damage?
Yeah, I mean, it's really nice to see you back on the grid for Ferrari. I mean, I know you're watching this, Colin, but Colin wasn't exactly putting up the points the Snipper needed to be able to put up a fight for the Constructors Championship. So I'm glad to have you back into the seat so there can be a 3-horse race for this Constructors between Ferrari, Alfa, and McLaren. Are you expecting to stay in this Ferrari seat for the rest of the season? Or what are your plans?
We're going to have to play that one by ear. I'm not really sure if I'm planning on staying for the remainder of the year or not. So we'll see how this goes and make a decision then.
Okay, I mean, I completely understand that. And some of you might remember Sinister as the commentator a few races ago. And he jumped back and forth from commentating and racing. Now he's back racing again, and I'm happy to see him. I'm happy to see you racing.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yep, no problem. Good luck today.
Yep, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
That was Sinister Owl. 43, the Ferrari driver that's jumped back into his seat.
Okay, so I gotta hear, Pecan needs to be a hero today, tied for his first place to happen. Pecan equals best con. And Pecan 36 needs a strong day today.
Patricia's got to put in a strong performance here today if he wants to get back. Wants to call himself a little bit closer into this title fight. Very close throughout the entirety of the grid.
Yeah.
Coming into this race, Snipper is still leading the championship as the image loads on my phone. Why is this taking? Okay, so Snipper is currently leading the championship with 173 points ahead of Honos and P2 for McLaren at 136. And it's really close here for P2 in the championship. Breezy with 130 and Pecan also with 130, so 6 points separating second through fourth there. Very close between those drivers. Dreamsy in fifth with 94 points. Ripper Rick with 51. Shawsome also with 51 in 7th. Sinister also with 51 in 8th. So three-way tie there for 6th in the Drivers' Championship. Dilsack in 9th for Toro Rosso. Impulse in 10th with 32 points. Bossman, Amarin Thunder, Get That Money Run, Lucas, Real Space Hero, Drew You, and Kill the Birdman round out the rest of the grid in the points. The constructor standings right now have Alfa Romeo on top with 240 points and Ferrari with 226. McLaren right behind them at 220. Then there's a pretty big gap to Haas behind in fourth at 137. And then Toro Rosso is the only other team with triple-digit figures in points with 126.
Great to see the title fight so close.
Yeah, it's really nice to have a great fight in both the Constructors and the Drivers' Championship in multiple places. I mean, that Constructors' Championship is going to go down to the wire.
Yes, it is.
But you know what else is going to go down to the wire? Round 12 of the UDL F1 Championship Season number 2 here at the Italian GP at Monza. Once again, my name is Mr. Damage. This is Jonathan M. Ledoux, and we are presenting this to you live.
I have another comment here. As long as Pecan does not Cleveland Brown it up, he will win.
All right. Bold statement there from Spazzer. See if it comes true or not. You might give him the commentator's curse. As we wait for these drivers to pick their strategies and ready up. We've got a McLaren fan in the chat as well. Man, this is gonna be a great race.
You know, I've been wondering where the Space Hero crew is.
Yeah. Hey, I thought is Space here?
Yes, he is.
He's not. He's not on the list on the right.
Oh, I thought he was in there.
I thought I saw him in the lobby too, but I must be blind.
I'm confused.
Yeah, I also thought I saw him in the lobby.
Wow. Okay.
But
yeah, I guess not. Wow.
See, I wonder if we have any of the German fans here as well that were rooting on Lucas. Maybe they can get behind Dreamsy here. Currently, he will be starting in P3 for Germany.
We do have one big Dreamsy fan here. Dreamsy for the W. So
as they start the formation lap here, 27 laps around the Temple of Speed, one of the most legendary, if not the most legendary tracks in Formula One here. Added a few chicanes to make it a little bit slower, but it's still the fastest track on the calendar and one of the fastest tracks in the world. John, I know it's late, but give me your podium prediction real quick. Come on.
I'm going to go with Dreamsy on the win.
Dreamsy on the win from P3 on the grid, okay?
So I'm going to go with Dreamsy on the win. I'm going to say Shawsome has a very good day in Alfa Romeo and gets second.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Bossman keeps up his position and gets in the third place again.
I really like those podium predictions. I mean, Dreamsy last week got disqualified after being forced to pass the pace, or after a lag spike put him behind a couple of drivers, and whenever he went to pass them back, he got a disqualification. Very unfortunate for the German driver, but you know what? I say Breezy comes home and takes the win for Alfa Romeo. Then we got Pecan home in P2 for Haas, the redemption from last season. And Dreamsy coming home in P3 for McLaren. Sniffer Pig will have the fastest lap of the race and will be P4. That is my prediction.
Again, a really good position.
So now they are lined up on the grid. The green flag waving in the background. The lights are coming on. The lights are out. The Italian GP. Sniffer gets off to a pretty good start and covers up completely. Dreamsy putting up alongside of Breezy going into turn 3 wide. By 3 going into turn 1. There's a bunch of wheel banging there. Still 3 wide in the midfield there coming through turn 1. Still 3 wide between Honos, Sinister, and looks like Get That Money and Run. So a very chaotic start. Wouldn't expect anything less. Sniffer gets a very great start there. Jumps out to a pretty good lead. And Bossman already up into P3 for Racing Point. A great start from him. And there's some battling going on behind them. Shawsome down all the way into P7, trying to get a position back here, but Get That Money Run, trying to hold on to it around the outside, and does. Great defensive driving there from the Red Bull Racing driver. Whew.
Incredible first few corners.
and I mean that was great.
I just let you run with it.
That was awesome. Oh man. I am lightheaded as they come through Ascari for the first time. Everybody comes through nice and clean, it seems. A couple of drivers side by side towards the back of the field. But at the front, Sniffer held on to his pole position. Dreamsy jumped Breezy in the initial start phase and got through into P2. And Bossman with a great start up into P3. Pecan also with a really good start up into P5 and Get That Money Run as well into P6. Dreamsy right on the back of Sniffer. Looking to the outside, not going to be close enough to make any sort of a move. Side by side, Shawsome, Get That Money Run, down into turn 1. Get That Money Run. Looks like he made it stick. Shawsome has spun. Looks like he hit one of those sausage curves and it just pendulum the car around. Very unfortunate for the Alfa Romeo driver there. As he will fall all the way down to the back of the field.
PG also runs a little bit off.
So now they come down towards the Lesmos here for the second time. Single file here through this section. Very fast corners, hard to overtake. But you don't really want to overtake there because you have this nice long straight.
That being said, Breezy getting a great run.
And it
just
like
not enough
to be able to hold on. Great from these Breezy. Almost loses it there in the middle of the sky. This will allow Pecan to get alongside him. Breezy falling all the way down to P5 in the laps here. Breezy trying to back Pecan here forward, and it looks like he might just take the stick here. So Breezy jumps back up into P4. Great battling between these two drivers.
Sinister Owl looking for a pass on I Got a Big Rig.
Side by side, it looks like it coming into the turn 1 between 4th and 5th position, but Pecan will be in P4. Let's see, Honos is around in turn 1, so he will drop down a bunch of places and will rejoin back in P12. Breezy right on the back of Pecan for P4. Very unfortunate for the McLaren of Honos, but it's a nice long race here at Monza, and with Breezy's comeback drive last season, it's very possible that these drivers that have fallen to the back here at the start can make their way back through.
Yes, quite a few drivers have made it from last position all the way to a win.
And if you watch this top 5 group here, it looks like Spire the Great has lost it at the second Lesmo. He does get it going again. But if you watch these guys, especially through a Scary, you can really see their different lines coming through there. Bossman, for example, goes really deep into the corner compared to Dreamsy, but Dreamsy goes for the exit, and Dreamsy, with the help of DRS, goes flying past Snipper, and Snipper will be a sitting duck to the racing point behind, going defensive, and will hold on to the position for now going into the braking zone. And this lead pack of 5 is going to be very spicy for the rest of this race.
While that was happening, get that money and run, a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting.
On lap 4 already. Very unfortunate for him. Snipper trying to go up the inside. He's defending now from Bossman. Huge gaggle of cars here. All 5 cars within 1 second. Nose to tail here coming through the Lesmos.
Incredible move from Bossman there. Going up the inside.
Bossman up into P2. He has something to prove. Last week, a great drive from him from P11 to P3, and now he's up into P2. Pecan, good defensive there onto Breezy to hold on to P4 for now. And Dreamsy's in the wall coming out of Ascari. Dreamsy has lost it, and he will fall down the order here. It looks like he didn't get any Dreamsy's lagged out of the session as his car has jumped from one side of the track to the other. So now Bossman will be the sitting duck coming down the straight. They're side by side for P2 already. They're 3 wide almost coming down this pit straight. Oh my, this is going to be interesting. And they're all going to be coming at a high rate of knots towards Bossman. Bossman will hold on to P1, but they're side by side for P2. The Haas and the Alfa Romeo, and Breezy will come through for P2. Oh my lord. Poor Dreamsy.
The commentator's curse hit everybody except the person you thought it was going to.
And Dreamsy is back in the session, but he is all the way down in P15. So he's going to have to go for an incredible comeback drive here. Very unfortunate for him.
Very.
As now the lead pack has shrunk down to 4 drivers this time. Thought we were having a little bit of a deja vu moment with somebody at the exit of Ascari, but thankfully he was able to keep it against the right side retaining wall and not bounce back across the track. Snipper and Pecan look like to be looking at side by side, but Pecan trying to make it down the inside. Snipper trying to hold on to it around the outside. They're 2 by 2 here for first, second, third, and fourth. Great racing between these 4.
And Bossman gets passed by Breezy for the lead.
So Breezy jumps up into P1 here after a bad initial start, has made it back up and now into the lead. So Snipper now, the one who got shuffled back with all the DRS training, and now he's all the way back in P4, and Pecan has lost the DRS to Bossman. So if Bossman and Breezy don't really battle too much and just try to just work together slightly, they could pull away here, but it looks like Pecan is clawing back into it. Get That Money and Run is in the wall. So Get That Money in the second chicane is in the outside wall. So he will be falling down the order as well.
Good on him not pulling out in front of other drivers.
Yeah, great conscience from him to hold on to it and not mess up anybody else's
camera
race.
Angle.
Yeah, I really like the helicopter cam coming through parabolic. Those trees out of the way. Somebody needs to cut those down or something. We need we need some lumberjacks. Oh man, I'm holding the camera angle. Oh no, give it back. As Bossman throws a little bit of a dummy to the inside, trying to get Breezy to bite, but Breezy does not bite on it. So it will stay 1 through 4 here. Looks like we've got a battle. Oh my lord, a 3-way battle for P8 here. The two Mercedes and Dilsack as well. And then Honos also in this battle trying to come up through the field. Very close to each other. Yeah, I'm watching this battle. This is going to be spicy. We've got the two Mercedes, Fiji and Iron Thunder side by side going into the second chicane. Iron Thunder will hold on to it. Get That Money Run has officially retired from the session. Very unfortunate for him, as now Dulsac has a little bit of a look down the inside, and he loses the back end through the first Lesmo and goes off into the gravel. Thankfully does not hit anything, but will lose a lot of time there. Great racing from these guys for P8.
Dreamsy, a little bit in the dirt. Quickly saw him while flipping through. Not been a good day for Dreamsy.
And it looks like Fiji goes wide into the gravel coming out of Ascari, so that will promote Honos up into P9 on his redemption run. And it looks like Shawsa might be able to have a look on Fiji going into Parabolica. He goes up the inside, makes it happen. So Shawsa, great late move there in that Alpha to get it done.
Okay. I'd say there was a retirement that was still out on track.
Sinister goes a little wide there coming out of the first chicane, gets into the gravel. This will allow Kill the Birdman to get a better exit in him. He's trying to go all the way around the outside of Curve de Grande. He'll have the inside for the second chicane. He is fully alongside. Let's see if he can make it work. They're still side by side. And Kill the Birdman, great move there. But now Sinister trying to make it come down the inside of the first Lesmo, but just not enough room. So Kill the Birdman up into P5. Great drive so far from the Williams driver, as well as from Sinister.
When did Bossman overtake Pete or Breezy for the lead again?
I'm not sure. Been watching all this great racing and towards the back of the field and in the middle and the back of the field, and well, there's some great racing going on as well everywhere else. Oh my Lord, Sinister looking to the inside of Birdman, not quite gonna be able to make it stick. He goes wide, he goes a little deep. This will allow Big Rig to come up close to a good run. Big Rig almost out of ERS though. He's gonna have to really start saving that ERS because he's gonna have 0% very quickly.
Not something you want to have.
Snipper right on. And Birdman loses it, drops down to P7. So now it's got a 5-car train here.
Whoa, Pecan.
P5.
Very loose coming out of the second chicane.
You jump back up here. And Pecan once again goes a little wide. Snipper trying to get past the Haas driver here. And he will have DRS coming up towards Ascari. Peak goes all the way to the left and comes all the way back across to the right. Snipper has to back out of it so that he doesn't end up hitting the wall. Very close from those drivers. Big Rig, Sinister, Kill the Birdman, and Honos all in a train here coming up towards the Scar. Birdman looking to the inside of Sinister here. He'll get the move done. He goes deep, but he will maybe hold to it. Sinister comes back at him at the exit of Ascari. Great racing from those two, and Honos looks like he has the best exit of the three. They're going 3 abreast into Parabolica. Oh my days. Double overtake there from Honos. Great move. He's already back up into P6.
Great racing in the midfield right now.
As we have Pecan and Snipper both in the pit lane for their stops, as well as Sinister Owl. Ferrari double stacking, and it looks like Sinister will barely get in at the perfect time. He gets hauled up just slightly by the pit crew. So there's your first couple of pit stops there, but the big issue with pitting so early is look at where Pecan and Snipper came out at. They're right behind Dulsac.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard because...
Oh, there's a crash between the drivers battling for P3, and Honos is in the wall. Oh, man. Great recovery drive so far from him. Is turned to dust as now he has front wing damage and will have to do it all over again. I don't know if any of the other drivers have damage. Kill the Birdman has a ton of front wing damage, but thankfully it's coming up towards the end of the stint for the softs. So he's not going to lose too much time here, it looks like. But man, very unfortunate there for the McLaren driver.
the McLaren team overall today has had unfortunate luck.
Breezy now coming into the pits to respond to Pecan and Snipper. Bossman going on yet another lap. See if his strategy pays off here, trying to extend those softs out as far as he can. I got a big rig in the pit lane as well. Not sure if he has damage or not, but he's on mediums, and after 10 laps, I mean, I don't know what he's got. He had front wing damage, so he has to put on hards here. Snipper trying to make it down the inside of Dulsac, so both Pecan and Snipper have cleared Dulsac here. So now they have to worry about the other drivers in front. Onos now getting his front wing replaced to see where everybody comes out. Shawsome will be coming out right beside. I got a big rig for P9, and it looks like Rig will hold on to the position for now.
Seems like people were acknowledging that Honos was making great moves, and then tragedy struck.
Yeah, Honos was really making his way through the field. That 3 abreast move into Parabolica was something else.
Let's see where Bossman comes out.
Fiji makes a bit of a mistake there in Ascari. Oh my, Dulsac went lock to lock there on the exit of Ascari, but managed to hold on to it. Great show of driving there from the Toro Rosso driver to keep it out of the barriers. Let's see where Bossman comes out. He's leaving the pit lane now, and look at this. I mean, that 2-lap overcut will get him back down into P4 again. Overall, I mean, he's going to come out right behind Snipper, so he's got it all to do again, but he has 2-lap fresher tires. And of course, Iron Man Thunder
might
leading
be
the race.
Decent at the end of the race for Bossman.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. We know this is most likely going to be a one-stop race, so not quite sure what's going to happen. Shawsome and Big Rig battling it out for P6. Shawsome gets it done on the Haas going into turn 1. DG spins it around there in turn 1 as well, loses a couple more spots. Breezy right on the back of Iron Thunder. Iron Thunder looks like he's just going to concede the position. Yes, he will. So Breezy, purple middle sector there. So Breezy trying to storm away from his option, and Pecan and Snipper coming out in traffic has really slowed them down, and they lost around 2 seconds there to Breezy. Yeah, let's see, what else do we have? We got Birdman, Fiji, Dulsac all close together here, coming up into Ascari. Birdman has a go down the inside of Ascari, and once again we'll make it stick. Breezy gets the fastest lap of the race. Snipper and Pecan side by side. Snipper looks like he's made the move stick here coming into the first chicane. Iron Thunder staying on the back of Breezy. If Iron Thunder can stay in the DRS of Breezy, this will help his race a lot. That means that he's going to be able to get towed along quite a bit. See what happens here going into the second chicane.
We got a comment saying one of our guys says Breezy's probably feeling comfortable right now. He can definitely feel comfortable, but I wouldn't say that he should. These drivers behind him have great pace, and they've moved up 5/10 in this past sector alone.
Yeah, these guys, they're all charging, trying to catch back up. Pecan right on the rear diffuser of Snipper coming through Ascari. Looks like Pecan got a slightly better exit. Snipper going defensive here in the middle of the road. Pecan going to the left-hand side, but not quite close enough to really get alongside. We'll try to go for the comeback here through Parabolica. Maybe get a better exit and set it up for turn 1 with the help of DRS, of course. Pecan already alongside before he even opened the DRS. What a great exit he had. So Pecan will promote himself up into a provisional net P2. Bossman going up into net P3. Gets past Snipper, so Snipper once again losing 2 spots in the span of 1 straight. Snipper clearly does not have the straight line speed that these other drivers have. Even with DRS, Bossman came from a long way back, and now Bossman looking up the inside of Pecan, but not quite close enough to make anything happen.
Bossman really proving himself these past couple races as a strong competitor in this league.
Yeah, I mean, he was really consistent and fast last season in that Renault, and we've really just seen a shell of his older self so far in this season, but now we're finally getting the Bossman we know and love in that racing point, and he is really putting in some strong performances in these past 2 weeks.
Pecan as well, finally seeming to get his pace back after a slow start to the beginning of the season.
Yeah, Pecan as well. Seems like he's been able to put more time in, is getting faster. As Sinister is out of the race here, so it looks like Spiral and Sinister have crashed in the second chicane, and Sinister retires on track. So his AI will be driving around. Iron Thunder and Snipper are side by side here for P4. Snipper losing quite a bit of time there, and they're still side by side. Now Snipper will most likely pull through and get it done. Yes, he does. So now the top four are correct, as Imran Thunder still has not pit.
This is going to be, oh my god, this is dangerous. We have an AI car, 2 AI cars on the track now.
Oh boy. So one AI car has pulled off to the side and is retiring the car that almost caused a huge collision there. And
okay, both of them.
The second AI car has disappeared now.
Yes.
So now Snipper and Bossman side by side into Parabolica. Bossman trying to make it work down the inside. Snipper trying to hold on to it around the outside. Who gets a better exit between the two? Iron Thunder dives into the pit lane off of those mediums. He gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So that would be very detrimental to him. We'll be looking for him to come out right around Big Rig, Birdman, and Dulsac in that P8 to P10 area.
Bossman gets the pass done on Snipper.
Now, Pecan pulling away from Bossman and Snipper, trying to get his head down. Get up to Breezy P1. Bossman with the fresh tires of the lot, but he defend against Snipper here. If the two start working together a little more, they might be able to make something happen. Iron Thunder comes back out in P6 on soft, so look for him to get past Shawsome and start charging and maybe set the fastest lap of this race. As now Snipper gets back past Bossman down the back straight with the help of DRS here coming through Ascari. These two have been battling it out basically this entire race in the racing point. Really been stuck together like Mac.
That is not good for them, but great for the audience.
Yeah, they are losing time hand over fist to Pecan ahead. Now Snipper is now 2.5 seconds back, and Bossman is going to be coming back at him. These drivers went from fighting for the lead a few laps ago, now they're battling for P3 just because of all the battling they've been doing. Snipper concedes, lets Bossman through, so now they swap positions once again, but every time they go side by side through a set of corners, they lose around half a second.
They really need to work together and just really put their heads down, work together, and just work on catching back up to Pecan, get in his DRS zone.
And, I mean, these two, we know that they have the pace to maybe be able to catch up. Smith has the freshest tires, so he has the best chance to catch up to Pecan. He pulled a little bit of a gap there on Snipper in the middle sector. Snipper nowhere close coming into Ascari this time around. And Bossman slowly eating into the gap to Pecan. The gaps are pretty stable, though.
He really needs to get the pace just a little quicker to really eat into that gap and get there before the end of this race. Is less than 10 laps now.
It's very, very close, that's for sure, on whether they'll be able to really make any inroads or not. Pecan has been around 1.7 seconds back for the last lap or so, and that does not help him at all. He loses the back end a little bit coming out of the first chicane, loses around half a second. He does not need to be doing that if he wants to win this race.
This is... Everybody needs to realize that they really need to just focus on catching more than anything.
And it looks like Snipper is pretty content to stay behind Bossman at this point. So it looks like Bossman is going to be the lead gunner for these two, trying to catch back up to Pecan. And if the three of them can work together once they get, once they get there, then they might be able to catch Breezy.
Snipper Pig is setting up for something big, I think.
Yeah, he has 100% hybrid.
Yeah, he is. He's definitely ready to deploy a lot of energy to get by whenever the opportunity arises.
The only other driver above 50% was Breezy until he threw it up in the overtake mix going down the pit straight. Everybody else, I mean, Pecan and Bossman, both under 10%, right at and under 10% here. So those two really having to use a lot of ERS to be able to catch up, whereas Snipper, he's just biding his time and saving all of his ERS here.
5 or 3 second penalty for Kill the Birdman for multiple warnings.
That most likely would be for track extensions or cutting. Which is pretty common around this track. It's Monza. As we got Dilsack and Big Rig going side by side into turn 1. Dilsack gets it done, goes up into P7 for Toro Rosso. And Bossman almost within a second of Pecan. Pecan falling off just a little bit too Breezy. Breezy might just be home free here if he can just keep it consistent for the rest of this race.
Sorry about that.
And just so that everybody knows, right after this race, around 30 minutes time after this race is over with, guess what? WEC sprint race at Road America. You're not gonna want to miss it at all. It's gonna be an incredible race. Is now
one of the faster tracks on the calendar, so it should be pretty great. We have a night of speed tonight, really.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting, and yeah, it's going to be great.
Bossman, now within DRS of Pecan.
So we might get another Bossman v Pecan finish here. Continue the saga from last week. With that last lap collision between the two into the bus stop chicane, with Bossman coming out of the bus stop to get that podium.
If I were these drivers, 2nd through 4th, what I would do is use the fact that you have DRS now to push each other to get back up to Breezy.
See, the big thing that I'm seeing here is that Pecan is on 0 deployment. Bossman is on 0 deployment. If either one of these guys are really deploying anything, like if Pecan's not deploying anything on the straights, he's not going to be able to catch up to Breezy, because Breezy's deploying like crazy on every straight.
This is true.
So it looks like Pecan has given up on winning, and now he's just trying to set up to defend for the rest of this race.
That's going to be hard to do with Snipper basically at 100.
Yeah, I mean, Snipper's in the best position here. He'll have the double DRS here and full ERS deployment basically at his fingertips. As Bossman pulls a little bit of a dummy to the inside, will put back into the line before the second chicane. It's going to be a fun race all the way to the end. Bossman throwing little dummies, trying to throw Pecan off. Birdman drops down 2 spots there. Oh, make it 3. And there's a little bit of contact there between Honos and Birdman. Honos jumps back up into P9 now. The McLaren's trying to recover to gain some sort of points haul here. But they're going to lose a lot of points to the other teams they're racing against for that Constructors' Championship.
This is shaping up to be a very close race. They are slowly catching Breezy. Surprisingly.
They're going to need to catch by more than just a 10th.
Yeah, that's the issue. They really need to push their ERS specifically to really get pace.
Yeah, I mean, the gap's staying right around 3 seconds. So it looks like Pecan is basically just fighting for P2 at this point. In his mind, Bossman wants that P2. He's going down the inside of the second chicane, and they go side by side through there, and Pecan holds on. It looks like there was a little bit of contact, had a terrible camera angle from my view.
Pecan flies forward.
So Pecan might have, Pecan had to go straight on through the chicane and just kept it matted. So not quite sure what's going to happen there. But he definitely did go straight on to gain an advantage. That'll be very interesting. He gained around a second of Breezy ahead.
Yeah, that's going to be probably reviewed, but that's not a time for now.
So now Bossman right on the back of Snipper here for P3. Bossman will have the DRS. Honos jumps up into P7 trying to get some good points. He's got 6.5 seconds to the next car ahead, so it looks like he probably will end up having to be okay with P7.
Snipper Pig really needs to push to get back into ERS.
Yeah, Snipper, I mean, he's gained quite a bit of time since then. He's gained around 6/10 onto Pecan, and he is slowly using his ERS now. As you can see, it's 75% floating around that area.
ERS.
Yep, now he's in the DRS range of Pecan, very slightly, but he is there. And so now back into this battle for P2. Almost the same before Bossman and Snipper have traded positions. And you see what I mean? Bossman really drives it into Ascari quite hard and gains a ton of time every lap through there.
He's very impressive in that sequence of corners.
And, I mean, he gets a great exit, too. I mean, he almost was able to have a good enough run to get alongside Snipper going into Parabolica with going deep as he did. So it's very interesting seeing that. Snipper lost the DRS to Pecan, so that means that Bossman might be able to just blow right on by him here, and he very much will. He goes down the inside, and it looks like he will hold on to the position, or he will gain the position, I mean. So now Bossman jumps up into P3, and he is right within DRS of Pecan here. Pecan, look at his ERS deployment. He's at 5%. So Pecan very much about to run out of ERS as Bossman gets into his DRS once again. And I don't know how long those tires are going to last on that Haas, but they're 2 laps older than Bossman, so I'm sure Bossman's feeling pretty confident right now. With the help of Slipstream and DRS, wow, 212 going into Ascari.
All 3 of these drivers need to really think about strategy calls for the final closing laps of this race.
I mean, look at Pecan, 11% ERS. He's on 0 trying to save. Bossman, 41% on 0. Now he ramps it up to 5. Snipper behind them both with 71% left, coming up to 2 laps to go. And now the gap is slowly closing to Breezy ahead. It's only 2 seconds now as Bossman has a little bit of a look into turn 1, but then jumps back out to the racing line. Pecan on a very compromised line, going defensive there, will get a worse exit than Bossman. Let's see if Bossman can make anything happen. He goes to the inside of Curve de Grande. They're side by side coming up towards the second chicane. And it looks like Bossman will get it done this time around. So Bossman promotes himself up into P2, and now Snipper going for a little bit of a dummy onto Pecan, a double dummy, I would say. So now Bossman up into P2, but he's going to be under attack, I'm sure. Actually, it looks like Pecan's going to be one under attack. Snipper all over his rear wing, trying to go left, right, left again, and will not be able to get past. Looks like Snipper had to back out of it there, as Pecan was just all he was left, right, left, trying to defend Snipper there down the straight.
I'm starting to question how long it's going to be until we see Snipper really start to push that ERS.
Yeah, he's still with a lot, and Bossman and Pecan both under 10%. Snipper was 60%. Is now he needs to ramp it up now. He's down in 1. He needs to. Why is he not in 5 here on lap 26 of 27? So they are one by one here coming through Curve de Grande for the penultimate time. Breezy, barring any mistake, should come home with the victory here. His second victory in 2 appearances here at Monza. Great track record for him. So far, this time it was not nearly as entertaining for us to watch from his perspective as last time with his charge through the field last year at this race.
Snipper
Now,
still only using up to 3 on his ERS.
Birdman has lost at the exit of the first chicane. That will promote Dreamsy into the points. Pecan looking to the outside of Bossman. Bossman going defensive. They're side by side through Parabolica. Bossman trying to hold on to it, but Pecan will take the position away, and they're all 3 within 3/10. Snipper trying to go to the inside. Bossman pulling a Schumacher, putting him against the pit wall. Oh man, Snipper gets boxed in there. So Pecan trying to defend against Bossman. They're side by side here. Snipper gets the good over under there. They are almost 3 wide coming through Curve de Grande. They're all within basically a 10th here. This is nuts.
Very, very close.
It's here. We see it all. They're on the gravel. All 3 of them get into the gravel there. Snipper down the inside of Pecan through the first Lesmo, but Pecan will hold on to it around the outside. Oh my lord. Bossman with an incredible drive out of the second Lesmo. Pecan and Snipper side by side coming up towards the Ascari chicane. And Pecan pulls ahead there. So Snipper not quite able to get past. Oh, but Bossman gets a bad run out of Ascari. Pecan beside Bossman coming up to Parabolica. As Breezy goes through Parabolica now, they're trying to shuffle around, figure out their positions. Breezy comes across the line to win the Italian GP. Bossman will come home in P2. They're side by side for P3, and Snipper looks like he just barely got it from Pecan there at the line. Great race between these 2.
Incredible race. I don't even know what the gap was there.
Whew. That was nuts. Imran Thunder comes home in P5 on that alternate strategy. He's got a 5-second time penalty. Might lose a place here to Shawsome. Depends on how much swerving Shawsome does, and he barely is able to actually get that position onto Imran Thunder. Honos, decent recovery drive from him. Comes home MP7. Big Rig, MP8. Oh, gets promoted down to P9 because of a time penalty. So Dulsac, NP8. Dreamsy will finish NP10. And Kill the Birdman has lost it on the final lap and will lose the position to Fiji. Fiji, in his first appearance back in a while, will come home in P11 and Kill the Bird for Williams. Very unfortunate for him after battling in that lead pack early on. Will finish out of the points in P12. Woo! My God.
Great race there.
So Breezy, for the second time in 2 races in UDL history, has won the Italian GP at Monza, and for the second race in a row, the man in pink, Bossman, will come home in P2, and Sniffer Pig rounds out the podium in P3. Awesome racing there.
Incredible race.
I knew Monza would be a good race, but wow, that was a thriller.
There was no time during any of those laps that there was not at least one battle on track.
Yeah, that was one of our best races to date there throughout the entire field. That was incredibly fun to watch, and that finish, oh my, oh my. So Breezy once again comes home to take the victory from second place on the grid. Bossman goes up into P5, or from P5 into P2. Sniffer Pig comes home in P3. Pecan brings it home in P4. A good return to form from him. Only, what is that? 30 thousandths behind Snipper at the line. Very close from those two. Shawsome brings it home in P5. Iron Thunder from P12 on the grid. Great performance from him to finish in P6. Honos, disappointing for him. He was running up towards the front and then spun and got damaged. Will finish in P7. Dulsac comes home in P8 for Toro Rosso. I got a Big Rig in P9 for Haas, and Dreamsy rounding out the points in P10.
I think we have a new closest race in UDL history.
That was
.026 split Pecan and Snipper Pig.
That was amazing. So, everybody, I hope you enjoyed watching this just as much as we enjoyed commentating it. My name has been Mr. Damage.
And my name is Jonathan. Be sure to tune in to our WEC race at Road America like 30 minutes after this broadcast ends.
And on the United Drivers League's behalf, this has been the F1 2019 Season 2 Round number 12, the Italian Grand Prix. And I will see you guys next week for yet another edition of this championship. And goodbye.
Good night, everyone.